Hi YouTube friend, my name is MEE-sha and I make videos about my life as a software engineer. Road to Tech is a series that I created where I can sit down and talk about the topics that I feel like people should know about when they're pursuing a career in tech. Today's topic is on how I approach LeetCode. If you don't know what LeetCode is, it's basically a platform where you can practice coding problems that are typically asked in coding interviews. I remembered that the October and November months of my junior and senior year in college were really busy because that's when the recruitment season opens up for a lot of big companies and even startups. So around this time is when I would actually sit down and just pour out a bunch of hours trying to brush up on my data structures, really practice my problem solving skills, and also coding. So around this time is when I would spend a lot of my free time on LeetCode. So I thought that it'd be really helpful if I shared how I approach LeetCode as a student and also as a young professional. This is actually something that I wrote about in my notebook. It's my approach to LeetCode. It's basically 4 main principles that I told myself, almost like a mantra or an encouragement, so that I don't feel bogged down and bothered by the fact that I have to practice coding in order to do well in my interviews. So I hope that they really help you too. The first principle in my approach to LeetCode is to not get discouraged or overwhelmed by the sheer amount of problems that's available on LeetCode. This is really easily done by just sorting the questions by most accepted answers, because typically if it has a lot of accepted answers, that means that a lot of people have tried it and have had success in getting their answers accepted. It doesn't necessarily mean that these questions are super easy and that you should be flying through them. It just means that a lot of people have tried this before and they've had a lot of success. I like to sort it by this way and then just kind of go down the list and build my confidence over time. The second principle in my LeetCode approach is to not rush the process. It's really easy and it's really tempting to go over to the Facebook, Amazon, Google questions and go directly to the medium and hard ones because that's what you're expecting to answer, but it's really easy to feel discouraged if you do that. So I highly suggest to not rush the process and build your way up to a medium hard question. Please remember that no one is rushing your learning process. Solving problems for coding interviews is kind of a new muscle. It's very different from what you would usually do for homework or for work even. So don't rush the process, really take your time to learn from the easy ones before moving on to medium, learn from the medium ones before moving on to the hard ones. The third principle in my approach is to do at least 2 problems every day. Obviously, doing as many problems as you can in a day would be good, but the key here is building consistency every day, day to day. I scheduled an hour to 2 hour block every day so that I can dedicate it for 2 problems on LeetCode, and that really worked out well for me because I was able to have a consistent schedule and I just basically went into routine mode whenever I did my LeetCode grind. The fourth and final principle in my approach is to remember that this is all ultimately for you to learn. Definitely don't feel bad about not being able to answer a problem. That just means that you haven't seen that pattern before. Being able to learn from your mistakes, what your weak points are, and looking at the solutions and really understanding how that answer got there will really help you when you see that similar pattern the next time. It's so much more beneficial for you to fail at a LeetCode problem but know how to approach it later than have dumb luck and get your answer accepted but not really be able to tell how you're able to do that during an interview session. Is a LeetCode premium subscription worth it? I personally have had it only for a couple of months at a time. I feel like anytime you're about to pay for a service, you should be first sure that you're using the service often enough to merit the subscription. I think that a lot of the LeetCode questions that are under the free and unpaid membership is really good. The main benefit of having the premium subscription is that you are able to look at the questions that have been historically asked at Facebook, Google, Amazon, blah 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 interviews. However, I do want to say that a lot of those companies blacklist the questions that appear in LeetCode and other coding practice platforms that have been flagged to be under their companies. Rather than relying on memorizing the answers to those questions, I highly suggest you look at the pattern that's behind the problem instead, because those are probably more similar to the kinds of questions that you'll be getting. So it won't be exactly the same questions, but the way to approach it using a map or using whatever other data structure could be very similar. And that's it for this episode of Road to Tech. I hope that my tips were helpful to you. And if you have any interviews coming up, best of luck. If you have any questions for me or requests for future Road to Tech episodes, please leave them in the comment below. And if you like this video, please like it so that I know to make more Road to Tech episodes like this one. Thanks for watching. Bye!